Well, hey everyone, it's Marcus and welcome to more Zooming in the Jungle Room. We are doing more Adelaide Fringe. Today I'm really excited. I have got writer and director Philip Stokes. Philip, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you, Marcus. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Of
Good,
course,
good.
you are coming back to Adelaide Fringe. Well, not you personally, you're not coming over this time, but you are sending an incredible show over to Adelaide Fringe. It is actually written and directed by you. It's called Shellshocked. What
Correct.
is
Yeah.
Shellshocked all about?
Shellshocked is a drama. I've had some history with the Adelaide Fringe. We've been twice before with two shows, which did really well. Heroin for Breakfast, I think was about 2009 or 10. And then 2 years ago, we had a show called Jesus, Jane, Mother and Me, which did really well and won the Adelaide Critics Circle Award. And we've been invited back by the wonderful Holden Street to bring Shellshocked, which is a period drama set after World War II. And it's about a young man who is a war hero. He's 19 years old. He's served over in France and has suffered the horrors of war. And he goes for a job at a local artist's house. And it's a thriller. And all is not what it seems. It's quite amusing. It's been described as a dark comedy, and then by the end, it becomes quite somber and quite shocking.
And so, what inspired the story for you when you put it all together?
I've always liked writing stories. I'm a playwright. That's what I do. I like the idea of. I've never written a period piece before. Everything's always been quite contemporary. Jesus, Jane, Mother and Me is a contemporary tale. Heroin for Breakfast was a contemporary tale, and this was an opportunity to write something that's set in 1946, and obviously 70 years on. You've got to think how these characters react. It's a very English play, so it looks at the sort of the class system of England. When you see the young character of Wesley, you think, how is he reacting to an older character? Why does he do that? I don't think the youths of today would put up with what he puts up with, essentially. And you've got the whole thing about there's not that kind of he's obviously suffering post-traumatic stress, having served, having seen horrible things. There were no support systems in place for these people. They went and basically went to hell and then got a boat back and were thrown back in and get a job. And it's a real character exploration. But as the play goes on, Mr. Lupine, who's the artist, you realize that he knows why he's chosen this particular young man. And he's chosen him because he is damaged and he has ulterior motives. And that's where it becomes the thriller aspect.
So, how old is this piece that you've written? When did you finish it off?
We've it premiered at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival this last summer.
Okay.
Um, yeah, so it's new. We took it. We worked with Richard John Productions and Lawrence Batley Theatre and Harrogate Theatre. We did a few previews up north in England, and then we took it to Edinburgh Fringe, which, like Adelaide Fringe, is huge. And I've done a lot of shows there, and you never quite know how they'll go. And for whatever reason, that's not for me to say, it just struck a chord with people. And essentially, the entire run sold out. And then we had contact from Martha, who is the artistic director of Holden Street, and she was very interested in it. And it just came about, and then it just seems to connect with people, and I think it's strangely affecting. There's a lot of tears at the end of it, and I think that the distance of the history, this kind of the 70 years ago, allows you as a contemporary audience to kind of go, this is not my world, but I can really relate to it. And it almost, I don't know, I think when theatre tries to be too contemporary, they're trying to hit issues, whereas this is kind of so far removed from what what we live these days that you can really empathize with the characters.
The two actors in it, of course, Jack Stokes, who plays the 20-year-old, and then
Yeah.
Lee Bainbridge, who plays the artist.
Yeah,
Um, they're both English actors.
they are. Well, Jack is my son, which is the
Well, that was going to be my next question. Is there a
yes,
relation? So there we are.
yeah, there is. Yeah, and Jack's quite known at Holden Street because I when COVID struck, I wrote he was wanting to go to college to do drama, and basically colleges shut down. So over the UK, it was a terrible time. And having a father as a player and a director, I kind of went, I'll make you a show for something to do. And then that went stratospheric, really. And he ended up performing it. I think he's done it about 200 times. He did it all across the UK. He did Edinburgh Festival with it twice. He did Adelaide Festival where he did really well. And so obviously being my son, it's not necessarily easier to write for him, but you're aware of what he can and he can't do. And Jesus Jane, and then the follow-up was called Lash, which did well, were one-man shows. And it was an opportunity to work with Lee, who I've worked with on Heroin for Breakfast, who's a trained actor. He went to Rose Bruford, he went to Columbia College in Chicago. And they're different generations, and that sort of worked with this idea of the young soldier and the older artist. They're very different styles in the way that they act. And it seemed like a match made in heaven. So we started working on it, developing it together. And, touch wood so far, it's going really well.
Awesome. Well, I'm super duper looking forward to seeing it. I love going to Holden Street Theatres. It's one of my favorite theatres here in Adelaide. But hey, as a writer and director, how is it for you? Obviously, when you create a piece of work like this piece,
Yeah.
how does it feel for you to just send that off across the world? And essentially on its own, without you, you're left back in England doing all your other millions of
Yeah.
pieces of work. How do you feel? Like, does it make you nervous? Are you comfortable?
Yeah, I think, yeah, I've always gone as a director, there's a time when you go, it's not your show anymore.
Yeah.
It becomes kind of the actor's show and the audience's shows. They've done it, 40 times now. I think you get nervous for the reaction to stuff, but again, you kind of go, Martha's a really good gauge of quality work. Holden Street's a good gauge of quality work. The audience, when I came across a Jesus J. Mother and Me, the audience were really cool, really astute, really intelligent, really giving. And in some respects, we found the Adelaide audience very, very welcoming,
Yeah.
which not to criticize the UK, but there can be a sense of being standoffish. They were just they walked in and they didn't go in going, impress me. They walked in going, I want to enjoy this.
Yeah.
And that's why we love it. And hopefully they really will. And I would massively encourage anybody who's seen Heroin for Breakfast or seen Jesus Jane in Adelaide to come and watch it, because, for me, it's probably the strongest piece I've ever made.
You have been to Adelaide Fringe before. You mentioned that. What is it about the Adelaide Fringe, do you think, the energy, the excitement of it all, that keeps you coming back and putting more work into it?
It's fantastic. If you love art, how can you not love something that's so big, that's so vast, that it's knowledgeable? There's a real sense of fun about Adelaide, which is weird when you take in a kind of I don't know if we're sort of the antithesis of that, because I take quite dark dramas, but the general feel is, like I say, it's really welcoming, it's really fun. It seems very non-judgmental. It seems really kind of like people want to enjoy stuff. Critics want to enjoy stuff. It's lovely. I've sent 2 casts over and they've had the time of their lives in terms of being welcoming, how good it is. And Edinburgh is frantic because there's so much going on and it's brilliant. And Adelaide has that sense of everything going on, but because there's more space, literally, there's more space. And I think as actors, as a writer, director, you just embrace that and you go, why wouldn't you want to spend 5 weeks in the sunshine watching plays, watching acts, anything from circus to dance to stand-up to drama? You go, what's not to love? What's not to love?
Well, Philip Stokes, I think you absolutely need to pencil out 2026 Adelaide Fringe and get over here.
I will try. I will
Um,
try.
Philip Stokes, what an absolute pleasure. Shellshocked is the name of the show, everyone. It runs from the 18th of February to the 23rd of March. So the entire Adelaide Fringe at Holden Street Theatres. Like we said, written and directed by Mr. Philip Stokes. Please get along, everyone. It is the Australian premiere that is occurring right here in Adelaide for the Adelaide Fringe. Philip, what an absolute delight. You make sure you stay warm tonight. It looks very cold over there. And think of me sitting over here in all the heat.
I will do. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Philip. We'll see you
Cheers.
around. Thank you so much.
Thank you.